All right, we're going to move on to our Thursday, our Therapeutic Thursday post. This was also a very interesting topic, an article, and this is about flashbacks. So, we know that there are people in the community that talk about having flashbacks regarding whether it's their diagnosis, their surgical experience, an emergency event, an emergent event. But what is a flashback and what can you actually do about them? So let's delve into this just a little bit. So, flashbacks are a common symptom of post traumatic stress disorder, post traumatic stress, and it actually involves reliving a traumatic event only in your mind, right? So they can be triggered by reminders of the trauma, such as you smell something or a sound, you hear something. And next thing you know, you're having this flashback image of what happened or what your brain remembers or has even recreated in your mind about this event. And flashbacks can be very disturbing. It can cause a lot of distress and interfere with your daily functioning. But here's some tips on how you can handle flashbacks. Recognize you're having a flashback. That's the first thing in jarring the mind to possibly stop. So tell yourself that the trauma is over and you're safe. You're presently safe. So let's just say you're having that flashback in your car. Stop, put her in car into a parking lot and just think this is not really happening. And this is where using your grounding techniques and your five senses actually come into play. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But you can use an anchor object, such as a bracelet or a ring, to remind you of the present. And that could be your visual sense. So if you look at something that reminds you, okay, this is right now, this is something I received after that traumatic event. I'm looking at it right now in the present. That's one way of anchoring or grounding yourself. The next one would be to take a minute and just breathe deeply and slowly. Breathing is such an easy, we breathe all day, right? It's such an easy way to kind of just take a minute and live with a different perspective in the moment. It can help calm your nervous system, reduce any physical sensations you're experiencing from the flashback. It could be a racing heart, other types of anxiety, sweating, even trembling. So if you just take a minute and breathe, even if you can count to 4 as you breathe in and out, that will also hopefully have an immediate impact on what it is that you're feeling and experiencing. But use these grounding techniques to kind of reconnect with your surroundings. For example, if you can name, this is where we're talking about the senses, 5 things you see out loud, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 that you can smell, and maybe 1 that you can taste. By the time you even get halfway through, that moment should have dissipated or be long gone because it's a distraction for the mind. It makes your mind and your brain function in a different area. It gives it a task to do. Now, I know that for some that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 actually works. I just go for it, one of each. So I personally like to just find the thing I can touch, even if it's turn up the air and I feel it on my face. And then I do always have an air deodorizer or freshener in the car, one that I can easily spray or one that when I turn up the air will increase the smell. So that handles that sense. And just touching the buttons handles touch. I also like to rub over my eyebrows. Some people like to do tapping. I like to rub. So that handles touch. I always have a pack of gum for especially moments like this. I can just pop that in, or I just try to see if there's any kind of taste, good, bad, or indifferent, that might be in my mouth. And then hearing. So you can hear the sound of the air coming out of the vent, and you can hear things that are going on around you. So when you start focusing on that, usually the moment that moment of a flashback usually is already gone. And that's when breathing for me is really helpful in trying to reset my mind a little bit. It's also important to focus on sensations in your body. It's called like a body scan. You can do it laying down, you can do it sitting up, you can do it standing up. Kind of feeling your feet. You can start at your head or you can start at your feet, but feel your feet in the shoes and just work your way up. If you're sitting in the car, feel how your legs are bent over the seat. Feel your hand on the steering wheel or in your lap. Feel how your shoulders are in the seat and just work your way up. Or again, start at the top of your head, how your neck's positioned, and just do a full over body scan. Again, these are all really good techniques that kind of are just distractions from the moment that you're in. And seek support from a therapist. There's no reason to suffer in any kind of silence. If you find that these things happen frequently and you have to make the decision what frequent is for you, um, call a friend, tell a family member, crisis line if it feels that intense, but definitely reach out to a therapist that can help you with this kind of traumatic experience. And sometimes it's EMDR. And if you've gone for that before, don't think that you don't need a tune-up, because we all could use tune-ups in this type of area on occasion. And these types of tune-ups, working with a therapist who specializes in PTSD, can actually help you process your memories and your emotions, but it's in a different environment. It's typically not in an environment that has a chance of triggering you. So there's not going to be that chance to have come out of a doctor's office and maybe you smelled something that triggered you, or hearing a machine that beeps. Even if it's going in reverse, a car going in reverse has sometimes triggered people to think of heart machines that are beeping. When you're in a therapist office, there's probably a little chance that's going to happen. They usually have that air machine on to block out noise, and it's pretty consistent of a quiet environment. So a much safer environment as far as that situation is concerned. Also, consider practicing self-care. So when you've had a flashback, it can be exhausting, it can be unnerving. You might feel drained, you might feel overwhelmed. It's important to remember to take care of yourself and do something that's going to make you feel good. So it could be taking a bath, could be going in your hot tub, it could be going to get a pedicure, it could just be reading a book on positive affirmations. Anything that can remind you of your own strength and your own resilience. It sounds all hokey, but it really does work. It really does work. Again, distractions, positive sensations. It's putting your mind in a different place. Flashbacks can be really challenging to cope with. And I think that we have them more than probably people are willing to admit. It's not a sign of weakness. It's not a sign of failure at all. It's a normal reaction to an abnormal situation, something that just goes awry, that would not normally happen on any other given day. And you can really learn how to manage it with time and appropriate treatment and heal from your traumas some more. So again, reach out to a physician if you don't have a therapist. See if you can find somebody who specializes in this type of work. I will, this article was very timely for me. I will tell you that I had my mammogram not too long ago, because it was the month of October, and maybe it was November. Nope, it was October, the month when everybody schedules to go in, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So made my call, got my date. Yeah, I've been doing this now 9 years since my dissection, so it's been 9 mammograms, and the first couple were really nerve-wracking because, like, how do you have a mammogram after you've had sternum wires put in? Like, this is going to be really uncomfortable, and it really wasn't. I told the technician, she was great. Fast forward to this one. Okay. This one, I just have to share my story because this, like, the end of my story is the point of this article. So from the moment it started, when they called 4 names and they said, please follow me down the hallway, I was like, why am I walking with 3 other women? But whatever. The woman gets us down there, and young girl, really rude and indignant, is like, okay, pick a room, take your shirt off, take your bra off, put on the gown. If you wore deodorant or perfume, there's wipes in there. Put your stuff in a locker and lock it and take a key and have a seat. We'll be with you in a minute. And all of us were looking at each other. And the great thing about being older now is, like, I have zero tolerance for that type of behavior. But I said to myself, you never know what someone's going through. She could have gotten bad news today. She just could be in a bad mood. I'm just going to blow it off. It's never happened before. So one off. Then I'm called to go back, and we review my medical history very, very quickly. And she's really focusing on if I have any medical history of breast cancer. And I do. My father's sister had breast cancer, and then some other remote cousins had it. But I've been genetically tested. I do not have a risk for developing breast cancer. And I told that to her. Well, this woman puts me in the machine, which typically makes me crack up laughing, because women, you know what I'm talking about. I don't even need to say. Men, you're lucky you don't know what we're talking about, but it's a very fascinating, smashy machine. And I'm always fascinated that you come out still the same afterwards, right? I'm just stunned by it. It makes me giggle. It makes me laugh. I see reflections in the glass of pictures or posters, and I see what's going on, and I just think it's very funny. And it doesn't hurt. It's awkward to be handled like you don't have the rest of your body attached to you. And you should not feel that way. They should be very um, just more in touch with you, not physically, but with you as a whole patient. And it's always been this case, but this time I just felt very, very, I say manhandled, but she was a woman, obviously. No men are doing these mammograms, but she just kept really trying to get everything in. Like she was going to give me a complete face, I say lift, but it's really pulling down. And she's like, I need you to take a deep breath in. And I said, I can't. You are ripping my skin across my sternum wires. She's like, yeah, but I want to get this lymph node. I want to get a good picture. And when she was done, I was like, I don't need a lymph node. I'm at no risk. I've never had a problem. Like, this shouldn't be this difficult. So she did the other side. And again, I just feel it ripping across the wires. And I was swollen for a day and a half and with burning down the center of my chest. Now, we're all done. And everybody, it's no secret, I have a colostomy bag. And I had to, the machine was too low, so I had to keep my hand over it so it wouldn't get caught in the machine. And when we're all done, she's like, do you mind me asking why you have a colostomy? Well, she already asked. So I told her it was a complication of Crohn's disease. And she's like, wow, you really are a mess, but you have really good coloring. And I just stood there. Like, did she just really tell me I look like a complete mess, but I have good coloring? And I went and got dressed, and I was so upset and felt like I just needed to go home and Brillo pad my whole body. And I found out that she was rushing me through because she wanted to go and put her order in with her colleagues for lunch. And when I got to the car, because I did not expect pain, so something out of my control happened. And because of that, I didn't advocate for myself, which could not set me off any worse. I couldn't remember how to get home. We're talking about a facility that is a mile and a half from my house. And so there's two roads and I'm on a cross street that connects the two. So I could go left or I could go right out of this building and turn down either of these roads to get towards my house. And I couldn't remember where I lived. And I started freaking out because that creates more anxiety that I'm having anxiety. And I had a quick little cry and I quickly put on the AC and did everything I just described to you. And what I got to was, all right, I'm just going to go for it. I know I need to head that direction. I'll get there. Eventually I'll calm down and I'll get there. And of course I did. And I did call and I did complain. And I did remind them that they were going to change the life of somebody, if not more than one person today, for the rest of their entire life with the bad news that they're going to uncover, that they need to be kinder and more gentler to people, that we are humans and some have PTSD and they may not know. But at the end of the day, you don't want women to fear going to get a mammogram. You want them all to come in and get a mammogram because it's so benign. It's so stupid. But to treat us like cattle and manhandle us, I hate saying that word, but to handle us with such disregard, that's what it is unacceptable. I don't care what anybody's going through in their day. It's my body that you're slapping on a table and you're hurting me. And then I, had my pity party that I didn't speak up for myself. But after that, I've already shared with you guys, I had a CAT scan like a couple of weeks ago and then developed this hellacious rash to it. After those two events, I started having flashbacks, not sleeping well at night, a lot of irritability. So I did call my EMDR therapist, whom I've interviewed here before. I haven't had an appointment with her in a few years, and I just walked in there, saw her, and I just said, I'm failing. I'm like losing this battle on flashbacks and triggers. And I told her everything that happened. And, we both agree that things that are out of my control trigger me. 100% trigger me. And she said, but Karen, you've had a lifetime. How much of your life has really ever been in control? Yeah, I've had a lot of health issues. As I say, I was born with bad genes, and I'm not talking about the genes you put your legs in. And I said, yeah, you would think that I would just be used to surprises, but I'm not, and I don't like them. I don't like them at all. So we had 2 sessions where we talked about it, just kind of getting our thoughts aligned. And we're going to start EMDR on, Thursday. So we will be beginning with our paddles again and putting myself into an awake REM stage, thinking about all these things and just assigning more appropriate emotions that won't leave me with horrible insomnia and nightmares and irritability, and just recognize it for what it is and kind of re-strengthen and redevelop the grounding techniques. And my voice, got to find the voice again. So, I'm no different than any of you watching. I have a lot of answers, but I tend to not implement them for myself at those key critical moments. So, yeah, I got to go back in. I got to find this voice, not underneath of duress. I need to find it ahead of time. And so this article really, 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 really struck me and will be in my mind moving forward, um, as a point of reference in case that flashback happens to me. So I hope that it was as helpful for all of you as it was for me. And that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. That's Therapeutic Thursday. Okay. Take some cleansing breaths.
All
Right.
that soapbox is tall.
Uh-huh. Hey, when there's nobody here with me, I could just talk for hours. You think I should just have my own conversations with Karen show? 2024. I like standing on a soapbox because I know I'm saying things that other people go through that nobody ever wants to talk about. Let's talk about this crazy crap, right? Let's just talk about it. Makes me feel powerful and supercharged. Boom,
Was that
boom.
the same facility that you normally go get
Hmm.
your work done in?
Yeah.
And they're just quadrupling up on the appointments?
Oh my gosh. Like, get him in, get him out. It's funny because I actually said to her, why haven't they created a bed so women can just lay in the bed, you know, put her body parts in, and then they smash from the top and the bottom, and it'll be even funnier. She's like, I don't even have time to think about that because I just got to get you in, get it on the table, take the pictures, and get you out and move on to the next one. And I was like, oh, damn, she's not very conversational with me today. And it was just rude. And when I called and complained, she goes, well, I hope this won't dissuade you from having a mammogram. I said, I'm disappointed, but I'm not stupid. Of course, I'm going to have my mammograms. And if you ever treat me like that again, I will take my business to another facility. I'm ready to drive farther to give myself the most acceptable experience, the most comfortable experience. Not dumb. Of course, I'm having mammograms. It's so silly. But I'm not going to let you guys touch me. I'm a person. You can't do that to me. You know? No, no. All right.